This week on the Journal Editorial Report, the Biden buzz grows louder as new polls suggest new trouble for Hillary Clinton. Are some Democratic donors getting ready to jump? Plus, a wild week on Wall Street. Stocks way down, way up, all over the place. Is America still the best place to put your money? And the fight to raise the minimum wage is the latest and greatest liberal cause, so why is Big Labor looking for an out? Find out after these headlines.
Good Saturday to you. I'm Leland Vittert in Washington. A sheriff's deputy in Houston was gunned down overnight while pumping gas. The killer shot Deputy Darren Goforth in the back, then stood over his body and shot him again. Investigators say the motive appears to be simple. Goforth was a cop. The police are questioning one man who they say may be a person of interest in the case. We're going to bring you the very latest. In Denver, some city council members want to keep Chick-fil-A from opening a store at the airport. They say they're concerned about the chain's reputation as an opponent of gay marriage. But is blocking the chicken sandwich place even legal? We're going to go live to Denver for the fight. And Donald Trump is just wrapping up a speech at a Republican gathering in Nashville. He spoke for a little more than an hour. Recent polls show Trump still leading the pack of GOP candidates, a fact that he made sure to mention during that speech. We'll break it down. More of these and the rest of your top stories when Elizabeth Pran and I join you at the top of the hour.
Welcome to the Journal Editorial Report. I'm Stuart Varney in this week for Paul Gigot. Well, the Biden buzz is growing louder, with reports this week that the vice president is meeting with top Democratic fundraisers, key labor leaders, even Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, as he nears a decision on a 2016 White House run. Some new poll numbers may help his case. They show him running stronger than Hillary Clinton against top Republicans, including businessman Donald Trump and former Florida Governor Jeb Bush. And look at this. That same poll asked voters what word comes to mind when they think of Hillary Clinton. And liar tops the list. Here with reaction, Wall Street Journal columnist and deputy editor Dan Henninger, Washington columnist Kim Strassel, and assistant editorial page editor James Freeman. Dan, the word liar is a very tough word association for any candidate to get over.
Yeah, or as is untrustworthy. It is a problem, and I think the Joe Biden boomlet, really, Stuart, is a direct consequence of Hillary's problems and her decline in the polls. The Democrats are beginning to worry that there is no plan B. At the moment, Joe Biden is simply plan B. It could have been Elizabeth Warren before this. They're not very comfortable with Bernie Sanders. But the Democrats' bench is very weak. Other than Biden, you might come up with John Kerry. Beyond that, there is no one. So at the moment, the Biden boomlet is very hot.
They're stuck at the moment with Hillary.
They are.
And they
She's
don't
got
like
the machine. She's raised over $130 million. She's got organizations out in the states. It's a little difficult for me to see how Joe Biden walks in from the White House and takes over the campaign from Hillary Clinton at this point, unless another shoe drops on her.
Kim Strassel, did President Obama tilt ever so slightly towards Joe Biden because he knows something about the FBI investigation that we don't know, but is very important?
You know, it wasn't even just a tilt. It was remarkable this week at a White House press conference. A White House spokesman, he wasn't just polite about Biden. He was effusive about Biden, talking about how much the president admired him and how he was one of the smartest guys in politics. It does raise the question of what does the president know? This is a president who cares more than anything else about preserving his legacy from his time in the White House. He cares deeply about getting another Democrat in that position. And so if he does know something about what's coming down the pike in terms of that FBI investigation and how that could damage Hillary Clinton, it could be that he's deciding to back another horse.
Do you think the president prefers Joe Biden at this point, flat out?
I don't know if you're there yet, but again, since no decisions have been made, what he's doing, I think, is making sure that all options are available. And this is one point, you know, in addition to whether or not there's another shoe that drops for Hillary Clinton, imagine if the president of the United States did decide to come out full bore for Joe Biden. That might actually make a big difference in fundraising and everything else.
Yeah, fair point. James, why doesn't Hillary Clinton just come clean? Why didn't, I'm not joking. Why doesn't she just say, yeah, I used a private server because I wanted to control and I wanted to be private? And just say it.
I wanted to keep from the American public the things I was doing. I think in political terms, coming clean may not be an option for her, because if her name was not Clinton, of course, she would be probably under a criminal investigation if she's not now. We published in our paper this week a letter from a career Foreign Service officer reacting to one of Kim's columns, describing how seriously they took classified data and how harshly they disciplined people for much less egregious offenses than what we've seen with her setting up her own private network walled off from public scrutiny. So I think she may conclude that she's got to just do the traditional Clinton strategy of moving forward, stonewalling, and then once it all comes out, pretending it's old news.
Kim,
but this is the other problem, Stuart, is that she can't get it out. She has now put herself in a situation where she's handed over these email records to the State Department, and they are in control. So they're under this rolling release scenario, under court order, and stuff is going to come out month after month after month.
That's the worst possible thing as the campaign grinds along. Dan?
But I'd like to make one political point on Hillary's side of the ledger. In this Quinnipiac poll that everybody's talking about, the thing that really doesn't get much attention is the fact that Donald Trump was put in a head-to-head again with the American people against Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, and Bernie Sanders. Guess what? He loses to all three. He loses to Bernie Sanders. The Republican nomination at the moment is a morass, with Trump leading, Ben Carson in second place. And I think the Clinton people can say, look, net, their problems are a lot worse than ours right now. As long as Donald Trump's leading, we're going to be sitting pretty with the American people.
Kim, what happens if Joe Biden just doesn't get into this race? Then what?
Well, look, I think that there are some Republicans who, for a while, they wanted to see her pushed out. But they're beginning to wonder if it isn't a better scenario for them in the long run. Look, their view is this primary will get sorted out, and hopefully in a way that produces for them a good nominee. And at that point, they could well be facing a former Secretary of State and Democratic nominee who is still dogged by this scandal, and for whom most Americans, the first word that comes to their mind is liar. They're not necessarily unhappy about that scenario.
James?
Well, just to underline that the Biden buzz or boomlet is about Clinton weakness and not Biden strength, this is a guy who's run 2 national campaigns for the presidency, and here's how many delegates he got. He pitched a shutout. So this is desperation on the part of Democrats.
We hear you. I like that word, desperation. All right, James. Now, all right, when we come back, after a week of big ups and big downs on Wall Street, some better than expected news on economic growth. Could it be that the U.S. is still the best place to put your money?